Betsy.
The best words, immediate past president, right?
You know what it looks like.
Afghanistan, not putting on a photo or a special force. I mean, how dumb can you get?
But it still makes a little bit like it's.
Who's that? They don't put the price down.
Okay.
Oh.
It looks nice.
Nothing from the temple, so I guess none of the president speaks. I'd like to call you after the president speaks.
No, it's bedtime, John.
I bet you.
Okay, we're gonna start, we want to start really on time since we have places to go and things to do.
Your hearing aids.
Oh. All right, so first I'm gonna start by muting you all. We are on YouTube, so if you want to go and watch back the program back, you'll be able to do so. And for those, if you know anybody who is not here, wasn't able to be here, they can always go back and watch it as well. So that's a good thing. Okay. Oh, good. It's nice when it's quiet. All right. As I said, it's 7:15. I want to start promptly. So I want to first start by welcome everybody here to a Zoom program on what's going on in Israel. A little update for us. We're going to hear really from Ariana Hoblin, who's spoken to us before. She's an FAU student. I'll introduce her later. And Betsy Fisher, who, if you don't know Betsy, she is one of our congregants, and she is very involved with JNF. She'll explain what she does, mostly on the southern area, so she knows firsthand about those communities that were targeted by Hamas. Okay, so without further ado, however, we're very fortunate and honored to have with us the mayor of Boynton Beach, the Honorable Ty Penserga. And before we begin, Mayor, would you like to say a few words?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rabbi, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me here and just to have this moment to connect with all of you. I know this has been an extremely difficult season with everything that's been going on in Israel and the devastation and all the innocent lives that have been lost. I just want to let all of you know that I'm standing with you, with the Jewish community and the people of Israel. I want you to know that the city of Boynton Beach, in a small gesture, but a meaningful gesture of solidarity, we have lit our water tower blue and white to show our support for the people of Israel. And we have also lowered our flags. And I just want all of you to know that I'm standing with you. And if there's anything I can do to be there for your congregation, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. It's always good to have you with us. We know you're a strong supporter of our community, our school, and we appreciate everything you do for us. So thank you so much. And stay with us as long as you can. And again, we appreciate you being here. Okay. A couple of months ago, we had a Friday night service, and we invited as a speaker Ariana Hoblin, who is a student at Florida Atlantic University. She is the president and founder of an organization called Owls for Israel and Students Supporting Israel. She spoke about her experiences during the course of her life in high school and beyond in terms of anti-Semitism. The attack against Israel occurred on Saturday, as we know. On Monday, Ariana already organized and led a FAU student protest in favor of Israel. And she's going to talk about that this evening and what other things are going on at the FAU campus, which basically was the counter protest and some incidents that occurred. So Ariana, welcome back.
Yes, thank you guys. I'm very happy to be back and speaking with you. I wish, it was under better circumstances. However, I'm sure we're all aware of what has happened in our homeland, Israel, in the past week. I can remember exactly when I was kind of figuring out everything was going on. I saw the rockets, like the notifications on my phone, and I figured it was going to be another 500 rockets, which is crazy that that's normal to us. And then I woke up the next day and the truth of the war had now started to come out. So immediately, as a student leader, I knew that this is not something to take lightly, and that even though we are in Boca Raton, where we feel safe to be Jews, we can feel outspoken to be a Jew and a supporter of Israel. I knew that there needed to be something done on our campus to show our support for Israel and to get all of the students together for this one purpose. So over the weekend, I worked with other student leaders across our campus, and within 48 hours, we were able to get a large group. We estimated about 150 students who had shown up to FAU for a March for Israel. And what we did is we gathered at our Hillel. We went over some of the precautions to take because right before we were going to start this, we did find out that there possibly were going to be counter protesters to our event. So we had an enormous amount of support from our police department at Florida Atlantic and pretty much all of the administration there to support its Jewish and Israeli students. So we did this march. We went around campus. We didn't really encounter much. There was one person with a Palestinian flag, and then another person who kind of followed our march against us. But at the end of the day, it was beautiful to see when I looked behind me that I didn't know like pretty much any of the people there. There were just so many people that I have never met before. And they all came together for one reason. And that one reason was for the state of Israel and for the Jewish homeland. And we knew that this walk wasn't going to be enough. We knew that we also needed to do a vigil because as the days went on, the number went from 200 dead to 1,000 dead. And that's not something that as students, we're just going to let slide. We need to talk about this, especially on our college campuses. So we then had a vigil at the Alpha Epsilon Pi's fraternity's house, where we had our Chabad rabbi come say a prayer, and we spoke about the people that we've lost in Israel so far. And we were all feeling very good that, you know, it sucks because we're 6,000 miles away. We're students. What really can we do? It's not like we're there. We're not fighting with the IDF right now. So a lot of us didn't know what our next steps should be. And then it came to our attention that there was going to be another protest on campus on Wednesday, and it was a pro-Hamas rally. And this was known. We had our security and our police department on top of what was going to happen at our school. And as Jewish students in Boca, it was very concerning to us because as an intern, a fellow, all of these different things that I've done to learn about Israel, I've never had to encounter a group like SJP, Students for Justice in Palestine. I've never had to encounter a group with so much hate towards the people that I identify with, the land that I love and I'm from. I've never had to deal with that, and most of our students haven't either. So what we did is we made sure that our students had the resources educationally, but also the safety resources and what to do when they are on campus. So if you've ever been to the FAU campus, there's a long breezeway where everyone pretty much will take to go to classes or wherever they're going. This is where these people were marching, and I still get chills about it because it was a horrible experience, but they came down our breezeway and we had two students who were holding up Israeli flags leading their march, and one of our old Israel fellows from Hillel with a sign that said "End Hamas now." And at the start of this protest, it was just supposed to be that we were going to stand in the breezeway, we were going to sing, we were going to have Israeli flags. And then we started to follow this protest. And as I've been taught, I videoed every single thing that had occurred. I was spit on at one point, and if you've heard the news of what did happen at FAU, 3 people were arrested at this pro-Hamas rally. One of them, which I'm sure if you did see the news, you've seen her picture. She pushed a Jewish girl, a Jewish student. And when that Jewish student was pushed, the police officer grabbed the pro-Hamas student and arrested her after she had then kicked the officer. So as they're marching through our campus in Boca Raton, Florida, and Israeli students, Jewish students are chanting for Israel, just Am Yisrael Chai, we're yelling these things that we're not calling for the death of anyone. We are just there to support our homelands. We're not saying we need to kick these people out, we're going to kill them. That is not any of our intentions. Yet the people that walked on our campus that's the only thing that they said. They wanted to, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. If anyone knows the origin of that statement, that origin of the statement is that the Jewish people will be kicked out of the land of Israel. They will be exterminated. There will be a genocide against the Jewish people. And this is what was yelled at a campus only 15, 20 minutes away from you guys in Boca Raton, Florida. And it was very hard to watch, especially with what's going on. I have friends in the IDF. I have friends just there in Israel, family in Israel, and it's hard to watch what's going on. But as student leaders, we knew that this was going to happen, unfortunately, and we were prepared to deal with this. And our school put out an amazing statement and said that they stand with the Israeli and the Jewish students at FAU, and they stand with Israel, and that the conduct that had happened at the pro-Hamas rally was just unacceptable. There were 3 arrests. So a lot happened in 1 week. And as student leaders, we were just focusing on one campus, but there are our advisors who are focusing on all these other campuses. And for us, it was hard. And even though it was just 1 week, we still have a lot more to do. There are more people dying. We still have hostages that are American hostages being held in Gaza. And we've been experiencing extreme anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism at FAU. And that's not something that any of us ever wanted to experience or ever expected to experience at FAU. And we are doing everything in our power as student leaders to be in contact with our universities. I know that there are investigations open currently against student organizations who have called for the destruction of Israel. And I think it's important to share everything that happened on our campus with you guys, because even though Israel is 6,000 miles away and there's something going on all the way over there, it's now affecting the world. It's not just Israel. Jewish students around the country and around the world are getting physically and verbally harassed for the simple fact that they are Jewish and that they support Israel. And it's important for the people in our communities to know that we as students are on campus fighting for our homeland and for Israel and for the Jewish people. And we're going to continue doing this. And it's something that I love to do. And it's in all these years of all the training that I've ever had to go through, this is not something I ever thought I would be using my training for. But I just want to assure you guys that the students at FAU, who are student leaders, we are fighting for our community, whether it be at FAU's campus or the surrounding communities. And again, I would just like to thank you all for letting me speak and share what's kind of going on the college campus aspect. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ariana. That's Ariana and Tyler, right? Not her sister. They're speaking at the rally, and here's an example of the students who were there. So thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions for Ariana? Okay. You can stay, hang out, or you can go and finish your term paper or start it, depending on what you're up to. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't see any questions. Okay. We also have with us this evening Betsy Fisher. For those of you who don't know Betsy, she is one of our congregants. So everybody say hello to Betsy. You might have recognized her when she came and read Torah before she went to Israel a couple of months ago. She is very active with JNF in the southern region, involved in a lot of their things. One of the things we were talking about yesterday, I'll share with you, is when we got the news that these communities were attacked, these kibbutzim, maybe we've heard of Sderot, because Sderot has been victim of a lot of rocket attacks. But kibbutz Nachal Oz, Be'eri, we've never heard of them. What are these places? Yeah, we know Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. We know some of the towns up north. But now we're subject and we're hearing these new towns. Where did they come from? Who lives there? Who are these people? And if there's one person who knows who they are, what they've been facing with, and give us a good layout of that whole community in that area, it's Betsy Fisher. So I asked her to share some of her thoughts and experience and knowledge with us. And she also has the ability to put up some pictures as well. So Betsy, go right ahead.
Thank you, Rabbi. I'm just going to share my screen. And before I begin, Ariana, kol hakavod to you. I admire your bravery, your hard work, and your devotion to Israel. You are an inspiration to all of us. So thank you. Thank you, Rabbi, for having me here. And hello, everybody. As the Rabbi said, my name is Betsy Fisher. I am very involved in Jewish National Fund USA. Jewish National Fund has 17 different task forces. Those are groups of donors who focus on a particular area or a particular part of the country. And I'm going to tell you how I began to be involved. I like to start with how it began and where we are headed. Before, my last career was a DJ and dance teacher. I owned a nightclub for kids in Voorhees, New Jersey. So I love to dance, love kids, and that was my career. My husband was the president of Jewish National Fund of Southern New Jersey, Peter, who's on this call. And I knew it was something he was involved in, but I didn't really go. It was the first Tuesday of the month, whatever. But he did have the opportunity to travel to Israel on a mission and got to see the indoor blast-proof playground in the city of Sderot. And when my husband came home from this trip, he was so jazzed about this playground. It was built in 2008. The powers that be in Jewish National Fund were driving around the city of Sderot and noticed there were no children outside playing. Nobody playing basketball, nobody bike riding, nobody kicking a soccer ball. And they realized that this is not the way for children to grow up. So they immediately bought a factory, repurposed that factory, fortified the four corners to make bomb shelters. And that is what my husband saw. We were at the Jewish National Fund conference in Philadelphia not that long afterwards, and the then mayor was speaking to the donors and saying to us, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for what you did for my city. Thank you for what you did for the children. Thank you for what you've done for the families. And I'm sitting in the audience and tears are just coming down my face. And and I said to this mayor, remember my face, remember my name, because one day I'm coming to your playground and I'm going to host a party for the children there. So fast forward a few years, my daughter was invited to a bar mitzvah, the younger brother of a friend of hers from New Jersey. And yes, it was in Israel. She wanted to go. And I said, of course you can go, but you're not going to go by yourself. I will accompany you. And this is my chance to throw this dance party. So it was during Passover and kids were off from school. It was an amazing party that we threw in this indoor bomb-proof playground. There is a section of that building that is a disco. We had this amazing party. It was myself, my daughter, my sister even joined us, the bar mitzvah mom and her daughter. And I like to say that between the days that I married my husband and gave birth to my children, this was one of the greatest days of my life, and I never forgot it. Sadly, though, just so you know, in the last week, there was a rocket hit and there was a fire near the building. And it did sustain some damage, not catastrophic, but it was hit. Just wanted to update you and let you know that. Anyway, I wanted to get more involved with Jewish National Fund, and I saw the things that my husband did, started going to some meetings, some events, and I met with Russell Robinson, the CEO in Manhattan, and I asked him where I can best place myself in this large organization. And Russell, in his genius, said to me, well, Betsy, of all the things JNF does, and there's so many things they do, and so much more than trees, what interests you the most? And of course I said, oh, I love that indoor playground. And said, oh, that's my baby, that's my ish. But I know it's already finished. You don't need anything done there, and we'll have to find something else. And Russell said, no, Betsy, we always need more money in this area. We are going to create a new task force. It's going to be the Sderot task force. You are going to head that task force, and you are going to hand select the people who will help you make a change in the lives of the people who live on the border with Gaza. Well, I walked out of that meeting shocked. I was not what I expected him to say at all, but that's how this whole task force began. It did start as the Sderot task force. We began in about 2015. Our first trip to Israel together was 2016. It was a small group of us that started, and I am proud to tell you we have grown to over 30 people, 30 donors who are passionate, who care about this part of the country, are willing to fundraise, travel there, and do the hard work. We really get our hands dirty and we are proud of our accomplishments. So I'd like to show you where this area is. I'm sure, sadly, you've since in the last week gotten a lot more familiar with this area, but this is the border with Gaza. Up here is the city of Sderot, and that was how this task force was supposed to begin. However, Russell Robinson realized that Sderot is surrounded by this rural area of Sha'ar HaNegev. And he said, you know, Betsy, we really can't do a task force just for Sderot when it's kind of in the middle of this other regional council. We need to include them too. Okay, so we became the Sderot Sha'ar HaNegev Regional Council Task Force. And then Russell later on said, you know, there's this whole regional council of Eshkol, which of the 60-kilometer border with Gaza makes up 40 kilometers. We really need to include them too. So our task force, Sderot, Sha'ar HaNegev, Eshkol Regional Task Force, just became too long of a name. So we became the Gaza Envelope Task Force. And just to explain to you why anyone would want to live in this region, the rabbi and I were talking about this earlier today. Why would somebody want to live in this dangerous area, raise children in this dangerous area? Why would anyone want to live there? And I've been around these Israelis long enough to tell you the answer to that question because they get asked it all the time. So you see in here, this Eshkol region, you see Kibbutz Nirim. When I go to this part of the country, this is where I stay on Kibbutz Nirim, and I'd like to introduce you to my friend Adele Raymer. I stay in Adele's house. I actually sleep in her mamad, which is her safe room when I'm there. It doubles as her guest room. And maybe you recognize Adele because as an English speaker living in this part of the country, whenever there's an escalation, so many news outlets come to Adele and want to hear her speak. She's been all over the media this past week, and she is an amazing representative of this part of the country. If you're familiar with the movie The Accidental Tourist, I actually call her the accidental war correspondent because she certainly did not move to this part of the country to become a reporter, but that is how the things have went. Anyway, this is her kibbutz Nirim, and I will tell you that this looks very similar to other kibbutzim and moshavim in the area. This part of the country is absolutely beautiful. It's bucolic. It's pastoral. Most of the time, it's very peaceful. Israelis living in this part of the country will tell you that life prior to last Saturday is 95% heaven and 5% hell. And you see these red flowers here. After the winter, these red anemones bloom all over the south. There's a Adon festival, and people come from all over the country to see these gorgeous flowers. Besides this beautiful part of the country, it's very inexpensive to live there as well. You can actually, unlike the center of the country, have space. You can have a backyard. You can have a parking spot. You can have lots of greenery around you. And there's a huge and wonderful, amazing sense of community. These are people who live together, care for one another, and share a spirit of pioneering, and they want to be on this border. They're the pioneers. They want to protect the country. And that is the spirit of the people who live there. And they will tell you, even after rocket, and all the escalations that they've had and all the operations, this is their home. They're not going anywhere else. And Adele will often say, well, where am I supposed to move? Am I supposed to move to Poway? Am I supposed to move to, Tel Aviv where rockets land? Where am I supposed to move that's safe? There's no place guaranteed safe. So this is their home and this is where they want to be. Look at this lady. She is this young mom, pushing her baby on Shabbat in her pajamas around the kibbutz with a cup of coffee in her hand. This is the very peaceful, beautiful life they live. I like to equate this to if you went to sleepaway camp. It's like returning to your summer camp with your husband or wife, having your kids in one of your cabins and living there. It is that beautiful and peaceful. And I just want to show you this little video. This is Adele's daughter's backyard. And I can tell you, you will not find greenery, space, quiet in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, or Haifa, in that part of the country, and be able to afford it. So this is the attraction to live in this part of the country. And I love this. A lot of the elderly in these kibbutzim drive around in these little scooters. As you can see, it's a real communal, real family-oriented place to live. So now I'd like to just share with you some of our successes as the task force. We began in 2016. We traveled to these different areas Sderot, Sha'ar Negev, and Eshkol. We meet with the mayors, we meet with their staff, we meet with the residents. We find out what their needs are, and then we come home and we communicate amongst ourselves, and we have to ask the hard questions. What do we want to raise money for? Well, how can we get the most bang for our buck and serve the most people? What responsibility is the area going to take themselves? Is the government going to kick in money? What kind of maintenance is going to be required? We come home, we ask the hard questions, and then we make the decisions. So first, we're going to talk about Sderot. This city on the border with Gaza, sadly, is known as the the bomb-proof capital of the world. There's too many bomb shelters, bomb shelter capital of the world. And it's just a very challenging place to live. But this is the mayor, Alon Davidi. He is a young, strong, forward-thinking, very good-looking mayor. And he has dreams and visions for this city, although it has this reputation. He wants people to line up to live there, and I will tell you that they are. There is so much construction going on there. It's like the Valencias have taken hold of this area. Even though it's dangerous, there are people who want to live there. He is an amazing, strong guy. We hosted him in New Jersey a couple of years ago, and I had a lunch for him at the Groove Lounge. He sat down at my table, threw down this brochure for an animal-assisted therapy center and said, Betsy, this is what I want to do next for the people in my city. We have the playground. Now this is the next program. We went to see what already existed. It was a small classroom fitted out to be like a zoo. And children, including the mayor's daughter, receive therapy for trauma in this little zoo-like setting. So they meet with a therapist, they choose an animal that means something to them, or an animal they identify with, or they like the looks of, and they have a session with that animal. And the whole concept is these children who are suffering from, we don't say PTSD, there's no post, we say ongoing traumatic stress disorder. They have a session and they can sort of get out of their own heads for a little bit, sort of look at another living creature, focus their attention on that creature, and that builds their self-esteem and self-confidence. And that is the theory behind this therapy. So the mayor wanted to make this into a much larger area and turn it into a park so that kids can receive therapy, but the families can come as well. While one child's receiving therapy, they can be in this beautiful setting with the park. So we chose to do this. We raised the money very quickly. This is a picture of the mayor and I at the groundbreaking ceremony. And throughout this presentation, you were going to see how we, the members of the Gaza Envelope Task Force, are at the beginning, from the conception, the idea, through the construction to the completion. And I don't know any other organization, Jewish organization in the States, that allows donors to be that hands-on, to be there from the beginning of the idea through the fundraising, the construction, and the completion. It really is amazing. But instead of letting me tell you more about this, I'm going to let the mayor of Sderot tell you more.
היום בסייעתא דשמיא אנחנו חונכים בעיר שדרות את המרכז לטיפול בטראומה באמצעות בעלי חיים. החזון הזה התחיל לפני כ5 שנים בחדר קטנטן לא רחוק מכאן, שבו החלטתי שאנחנו צריכים לראות מה אנו יכולים לעשות על מנת לעזור לילדים של שדרות וילדים של עוטף עזה, לסייע להם לעזור את המצוקה ואת הקושי שהם סובלים מהטרור. אני מעריך ומאמין שהמקום הזה ייתן תשובה ומענה וסיוע למאות של משפחות, לא רק מהעיר שדרות, אלא גם מיישובי עוטף עזה. אני רוצה להודות לשותפים העיקריים שלנו, JNF ארצות הברית, במיוחד לחברי הטקסט פורס, לבצי פישר, לבועז ולכל החברים. אני רוצה להודות גם לראסל רובינסון, מנכ"ל JNF ארצות הברית, על השותפות היקרה והחשובה.
As you can see, this is an amazing, beautiful park filled with lovely, fluffy animals, even snakes and lizards and spiders and whatever. This little bird, that's the hit of the park, is a handicapped bird. You can see it's missing the beak on the top. So children with special needs actually identify with this bird, and it's really effective therapy for them. So that was our recent success in Sderot. We are also involved in the Beautifying a Bomb Shelter program. This bomb shelter, which was painted by Floridian residents, Jim and Jen Metcalf. These are their globes that they put outside their house for holidays in Boynton Beach and Hunter's Run. The program allows donors from the United States to beautify a bomb shelter. You can paint it, have the artist, who is an amazing guy, Eliasaf, paint it into some kind of theme that you would like. For $10,000, you can paint a theme and have it be for any special occasion, a wedding, a bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, a birth in memory of somebody. And these bomb shelters, sadly, are all over the region. And they're normally very ugly. They're scary looking, just concrete structures that are not family friendly, not kid friendly at all. So we are turning shelters into show places and making the area come alive and not be as creepy and scary looking as it is. My husband and I both wanted to dedicate a shelter to each other for our 60th birthdays. This is the one I dedicated for my husband. He got to see it when we were in Israel last year. And I'm going to show you mine. Do you want to see mine? Mine is right outside the indoor playground in Sderot. It's like I've come full circle. This is where my interest in the task force got started. And this bomb shelter is right outside the entrance to the playground, just in case, kids are lined up to go inside and a rocket alert goes off, they have a safe place to be. So we are very proud. And if anyone's interested in dedicating a bomb shelter, it's $10,000. You can do it on your own. You can do it with a group for any occasion, and it will be customized to your liking. Okay, let's move on to Sha'ar Negev. I told you the area which surrounds Sderot, which is a rural community. This is the mayor of Sha'ar Negev. His name is Ophir Lipstein. He is an amazing, forward-thinking, positive, amazing guy who had dreams of opening a industrial zone on the border with Gaza to provide Gazans with work opportunities, a chance to make a living, and a chance to have something to live for. Because as we say, if the Gazans don't have anything to live for, they certainly have something to die for. And this is his team in Sha'ar HaNegev. Our project that we did in Sha'ar HaNegev, which just got finished, we finally had our dedication just this past May. They asked us to add on 2 blast-proof counseling rooms to their psychological center. And we got this done. We had the opening, and here we are hanging the mezuzah again. So we went from conception to construction to completion, and it really is a source of pride for all of us. And one of the therapies that goes on in Sha'ar HaNegev is this therapy where children can pick from the selection of little figurines. They make a scene in either a water table or the sandbox, and then they get to talk out that scene with their therapist. And that's the way the therapy goes, and it really is very effective. On Saturday morning, very sadly, early in the morning, we found out of the death of Ophir Lipstein. He came out of his home to protect his community of Kfar Aza. He came outside with his gun, but he was, immediately overtaken, and sadly, he was killed on Saturday morning. And this is such a loss, not just for me personally, but for his community. He was a bold, strong, visionary mayor, and it's just crushing. And another thing to add was we just found out this morning that the body of his son was just identified today as well. So this poor woman lost her husband and her son within days, and it's just unspeakable. And we are brokenhearted. Everyone in my task force brokenhearted. Okay, moving on. I want to talk to you a little bit about Kibbutz Nirim, which I mentioned before, and the Eshkol Regional Council. This is the mayor of Eshkol Regional Council, Gadi Yarkoni. My Gadi Yarkoni, who is an amazing, strong, unbelievable man. You will see that in these pictures, he has a cane. Gadi, who lives on the Kibbutz Nirim, was the last person to be injured in Operation Protective Edge in 2014, the last time Israel conducted a ground invasion into Gaza. Gadi and his team and some electricians were outside repairing an electrical wire that had been damaged, and the power was out in the kibbutz. They were unaware. Nobody told them that this was an hour before the ceasefire was about to go into effect. Nobody told them this is the worst possible time one can be outside, because this is the time that Hamas just shoots off every last rocket, everything on the shelf in a show of strength, kind of like the grand finale of a 4th of July fireworks display. Well, unaware, they were outside. The mortar hit. It instantly killed the head of the security on the kibbutz. Another friend of Gadi's died on the operating room table, and they assumed for sure that Gadi would die as well. Miraculously, he did live, despite all other health conditions he has, like he had a heart attack when he was in his 40s. He doesn't see very well. There's a lot of physical challenge, but amazingly, he survived. These are our partners in the Eshkol region. And he decides, after defying the odds and living, getting prosthesis and being able to walk again, after a 6-month hospital stay, he decides he's going to run to be the mayor of the entire regional council. He did it and he won. And to this day, he serves as the mayor of the regional council. And I'm going to interrupt here and just do a little shameless plug, because I am in such, I just admire him so much. And I think his story is so inspirational. I said to him, Gotti, has anyone ever told your story? Has anyone ever written, like, this story could be a movie? And he's a very humble guy, you know, a kibbutznik, no. And I said to him, I am going to be the one to write your story. So since I closed the Groove Lounge, I've been working on writing the biography of Gotti Yarkoni. I would love for your help. If you could follow me on Instagram. Rabbi, I know you said you're on Instagram. Follow my page. It is called The Gotti Project. I would so appreciate it. I'm trying to build my online presence, and you can watch me as I go through this process to get this book published next year. I'm also on Facebook. The page is Betsy Fisher's Book, Even After Everything. I would love for you to follow along as I work and get this book finished.
I just followed you.
Thank you. And obviously this week I have not been writing because it's just too overwhelming at this time to even think about things. I'm just so thankful that Gotti and my friend Adele are still alive. Their families are still alive, thank God. Adele sent me this picture as soon as they got out of their safe rooms where they were hiding for hours and hours and hours, finally got into their community space guarded by the army. And I was so relieved to see that they were both still alive. And Gotti, with all of his challenges, having his legs blown off, not being able to see, having the trauma of losing his friends, and now this community that has gone through hell, it's amazing that he even functions. I don't even know how he gets out of the bed sometimes. He's been on the news. He's traveling to a lot to visit with the evacuees who've been pulled out of Nirim to go live there for a while. He's meeting with the bereaved families and basically fighting for his community. And it is unbelievable. And this poor guy has been through so much. I reached out to one of his employees this morning, and this is what she wrote back to me. The magnitude of the disaster is unimaginable. The mind cannot digest what they did to us. More than 200 residents of Eshkol were murdered. Friends, acquaintances. As you know, here, everyone knows everyone. Sharon, who's Gotti's personal assistant, was kidnapped with her 3-year-old twins and her husband. This is Gotti's assistant and her entire family kidnapped. I don't know how he can go on, but he is such a strong and amazing leader. She said, this is a hallucinatory reality. What an expression, a hallucinatory reality. Anyway, what we did in Eshkol, our first success, this is the very first project we did, was to add on a blast-proof community counseling room to their resilience center. In Israel, they don't like to talk about trauma. They don't call them trauma centers. They call them resilience centers. And same thing, we went from the conception to the planning to the groundbreaking, and here it is complete, to the hanging of the mezuzah on the door. And like I said, for us to be part of this process from start to finish really is an amazing opportunity, and we are so proud. Our next accomplishment in Eshkol, which truly is the jewel in our crown, is this safe, indoor, high-tech, state-of-the-art learning center. It was called the Play School Kingdom, but the name has changed. But you can see, here's the planning. This is in Eshkol. This is the high school campus. This is the elementary school and middle school campus. So this safe space, this high-tech learning center, is located in the heart of the community, where kids can walk either during school hours or after school hours. Parents know they can get there, they can be safe, and they can enjoy all kinds of after-school science activities, learning activities, cooking activities. And I'm going to show you a video in just a minute. Here I am at the dedication. My husband and I, we knew we wanted to do something special for this community and really support it. I thought we were going to dedicate it to our children, but no, my husband surprised me and dedicated it in my name, which is a great surprise. And I was really touched by that. So here's the building under construction. As I showed you, the high school campus, the elementary and middle school campus, and right back here, past the green, that is Gaza. That is how close this building is to the border. And as you will learn in a minute, there are no windows on the western side of the building, just for safekeeping. They don't want any windows on that side of the building. But instead of me telling you all about it, I'm going to let you see for yourself.
Rooftop is actually magic. This place is one of a kind here in our region. This place gives the whole community the best tools with the highest technology that we can get. People can come here and actually learn about things that they were never able to learn before. We help them to think beyond their dreams. The kids that come here never want to leave, and they always come back for more.
We got a very cool planetarium, a makerspace, cyber tech lab. We also got a very special collaboration with NASA. We've got a very large co-work where small businesses and students, academic students can come and sit together, work together. And also we've got here a virtual reality arena where you can go wherever you want without moving an inch. Children and youth that live here are living in a reality of emergency routine, which means that the resilience that they have is something that is very tender.
We can actually see the kids with all kind of post-traumatic issues. They can actually forget about that. It helps them to feel like they're in a different world. They feel safe here because this place is almost fully protected. And they have a lot of bomb shelters here, and there's no windows towards west, and feel like they're regular kids.
Okay, so you can understand the amazing impact that this building has made on this area. There's nothing like this in the state of Israel. Russell Robinson's response to me in a WhatsApp when he first saw it was, "This building is fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. It will truly be a game changer." Russell has mayors from all over the state of Israel saying, "When are you going to build us a Groove Tech?" Obviously, it was named after the Groove Lounge, and we are very, very proud of it. From what I understand, it did sustain some damage. At this point, we don't know the extent because obviously it's still an active war zone and no one's really been around to inspect the building, but hopefully it will be something easily fixed and can be used right away when people are returning. So what's next for the Gaza Envelope Task Force? I will tell you one of the first things that's probably going to happen is the name is going to change. Most likely, we will not be identifying with Gaza any longer. We will be called the Western Negev Task Force. I'm pretty sure that's coming up. And our next program is going to be the renovation, the improvement of a large athletic field in the center of Sha'ar HaNegev. And sadly, Ophir was definitely, this was his dream. This is Ophir with Russell Robinson and other staff members at a dedication just this past June. And what is so sad to me are these are soccer balls that were signed by kids from Sha'ar HaNegev. And we don't even want to think about how many children are no longer with us. And they will never see this field and they will never play with these balls. And it is just absolutely heartbreaking. And I just want to mention something about Ophir's wife. I did reach out to her to send my condolences to her. And this is what she said back to me. She said, "Thank you so much for your heartfelt, touching words. Ophir loved his mission very much as he believed that Sha'ar HaNegev should be the best place to live in the entire state of Israel. My dream today in this terrible time is that my husband's legacy about our region and many of his other dreams and projects will go on and will be fulfilled and developed even further. And that in the end, our Western Negev home area will truly be a high quality, sought after, and safe place to live." And I said to my task force yesterday, there's our marching orders right there to move on, rebuild bigger and better, and to fulfill Ophir's dream. So basically the field is going to be high tech. That track is going to be a smart running track where if you have a smartwatch on or your smartphone, the track will keep track of your steps with new bleachers, and obviously bomb shelters need to be there and all state-of-the-art new track and field. But it's not just for athletics, it's also for community gathering, concerts and graduations, and a chance for the community to come together and continue to build the resilience. There are programs that go on there now for adults. They are called Running for Resilience, where adults get together, they do some running, and then they actually have counseling sessions. So it really will be also another game changer in the area. So I just want to go back real quick before I end and reintroduce you to Adele, my friend who lives in Kibbutz Nirim. You maybe have seen her. I told you she's been on the news constantly the last week. My friend, one of the smartest, bravest people I know, my good friend who is the accidental war correspondent. Adele also runs a Facebook page called Life on the Border with Gaza. If you would like to know in real time what is happening in this part of the country, I highly suggest you find her page. It is administered by people who live in the area. And she used to be so upset because, you know, the news would never cover what's going on in this part of the country. She normally likes to be there whether there's an escalation or not. She wants to bear witness to what's happening. And she runs this page just to let the world know the truth about the area. She was in her bomb shelter with her son when the terrorists got to her community. She was locked in there and her son was holding the handle of the door. And for some reason, she doesn't know why, divine intervention, her deceased husband may be looking down on her, but she and her son were spared. Her son understands a little bit of Arabic and he heard some say something like, move away from there or get away from there. And poor Adele had to go to the bathroom so badly. She finally came out of her safe room to go pee and she saw that the slats of her window were broken. So she knew they had tried to get in there. And this is a picture of me and Adele in her safe room. Like I said, that's where I sleep. In May, I was visiting her and there was a possible escalation. We were all told to get into the safe room together. And I have to tell you, nothing happened while I was there. It was just the anticipation, the psychological warfare of waiting for something to happen. And it was terrifying. Very, very scary. So to think of her in there with these terrorists around, just beyond. This is Adele's son-in-law, and I'm telling you, I could spend this half hour telling horror stories, which I don't want to do, but I do want to share this one story. Her son-in-law, that fountain I showed you earlier, is to the right of this table. This is her son-in-law with his 3 gorgeous daughters. He was with them on the morning, that Saturday morning, when terrorists broke into his house. He's part of the security team, so he owns a very large gun. He blew those 2 terrorists away and saved the lives of his daughters, my friend's grandchildren. So I'm thanking God every day that these people I know are still alive and praying for them. You know, being so involved with Jewish National Fund, it's like a double-edged sword. We have the amazing opportunity to get to know these people. You know, we've been to their homes, we've been to their restaurants, we've toured around, seen the projects, broke bread with them, been to groundbreakings, hung mezuzahs. And we are close. We have a great relationship with our partners. I have a joke with this woman, Adele, who works for Eshkol. You know, we laugh that if somebody sneezes in Eshkol, somebody in the United States says, God bless you. So we do have this close relationship. We are so lucky. And this is what JNF allows us to do, to be boots on the ground and get such a close working relationship with all these people. If you are interested in helping support JNF, they are doing amazing, incredible work on the ground right now. So far, they have relocated over 15,000 people from the South, moved them to a safer place. That included the actual transportation, their food, their clothing, activities for the kids. You know, the kids have to be kept busy. There is no school going on right now. JNF had a $10 million campaign they were hoping to close at the end of October. We have already raised $9.5 million in a little over a week. We had 1 anonymous $1 million donor, and we just got a second anonymous $1 million donor. So everyone can match their money up to $1 million. And it's pretty amazing. They already spent $10 million to date. They know they're going to need another $5 to $7 million in the next few weeks. And then, God willing, when this is over, and people need to start to come back to their homes, JNF will be there to rebuild. They know they're going to need at least $25 million to bring all these people back home again. So like I said, if you're willing to help, the link is jnf.org/support Israel. I thank you all so much for being here tonight. I hope I gave you enough time to turn the channel to go see Biden. But I just want to say thank you so much for being here. I hope you're all taking care of yourselves and being strong. I know I'm not getting a lot of sleep. I'm not eating great myself, and certainly not exercising. But we need to be strong so we can be strong for Israel. So take care, everybody. Thank you so much for your support and for listening. And Am Yisrael Chai.
Thank you so much, Betsy, for that presentation, letting us know what really goes on in the Negev, and the Western Negev, the projects that are worked on, and what you've been doing, what JNF is doing to support it. You know, obviously, as you said, you know, since the attacks of 2 weeks ago, you haven't been there. It's a war zone. We can't know really firsthand, but your insight has been very helpful to us to help us understand of everything that's going on. So thank you. I joined that Facebook group also. All right. So we'll be giving
Thank
some
you.
updates on that. So again, you know where to find me if you have any updates, anything that you'd like to share. I'd be more than happy to, share it with the congregation as well. Okay. So thank you, thank everybody for being here this evening. The president is speaking. We don't want to miss that. As you know, I'll be giving you updates. We have services tomorrow evening. We have minions every day. We talk about Israel. So please stay tuned for what's going on. And as you said, Am Yisrael Chai. We pray for the safety and success of the soldiers of the IDF. We pray for the return, the safe return of those who are held hostage. And we certainly pray that terrorism and violence no longer exists in our world. So again, thank everybody for being here. Thank you, Mayor Pinserga. Thank you, Ariana. Thank everybody, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay, let's go to this.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thanks for having me.
You're very
Thank you,
welcome.
Betsy. Thank you so
Wonderful,
much.
Betsy.
Thank you for being here.
And reiterate, the United States remains committed to the Palestinian people